Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be looking at 1 Peter chapter 5.
1 Peter 5.
A letter with a ton of wisdom that goes way beyond just advice about leadership.
Absolutely.
We've got the notes ready for you.
We do.
The text itself.
Right.
And we're ready to dig in to find the real gold that's hidden in these verses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really amazing to me how a letter written so long ago can still speak to us today.
Right. You know what's really remarkable is what we find in this passage is this really incredible blend of practical guidance for leaders, but also these really profound truths for everyday Christian living. It really gets to the core of what it means to follow Christ.
Okay, so first things first. His author, it's Peter.
It is.
But he doesn't just jump right in.
No, he doesn't.
He lays some groundwork first.
He does. He really sets the stage. He's like, hey, before we get into the how-tos, let me remind you that I wasn't just thinking about this stuff. I was there when Christ was suffering. And I have actually seen the glory that's waiting. It's an incredible way to establish his authority and tell the reader, like, really listen up. This is coming from experience.
It's like, I know what I'm talking about, which is a really good move.
Absolutely.
Because he's building trust right from the beginning. So speaking of trust, he jumps right into talking about elders. Which basically in this context refers to the leaders in the church.
The leaders of the church.
And he doesn't shy away from calling out bad leadership practices.
No, he doesn't, even back then.
Even back then.
You're right.
You know, it's interesting. He's an elder himself. Yet he's contrasting the leadership that's done by constraint with that's done willingly.
Okay. Look at verses 1 through 4. He really contrasts those two. Are you in it because you have to be or because you want to be? Because your heart's in it.
It's a really big point.
It is.
I think that resonates even more in today's world where so many people are thrust into leadership roles that they might not even want or feel prepared for.
Absolutely.
And then he goes on to say, not for filthy lucre.
I love that phrase.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so archaic. But it means not for dishonest gain. It's as potent today as it was back then. Think about in the early church. Leadership wasn't about climbing a ladder or making money. It was about serving. Taking money for that. You're taking advantage of the flock.
It really flicks the script on how we view leadership today.
It does.
It's like he's challenging us to say, are we leading for the right reasons?
That's right. Our motivation's pure.
And then he goes on to say, be examples
to the flock.
So it's not just do as I say. It's do as I do. Which is a challenge.
It is.
For anybody in a position of influence. But he doesn't stop there.
No.
He talks about a crown of glory. That's awaiting these faithful elders. What does that mean for them? And what can we take from this concept of reward for serving well?
This is where it gets really interesting.
This is where it gets good.
We're
not talking about some fancy hat. We're not talking about a bonus check.
No.
This crown of glory represents something eternal.
It does.
Something much greater.
Absolutely.
That speaks to the impact you make on others.
And
the legacy that you leave behind.
You hit the nail on the head. It points to a life that's lived in service to something bigger than yourself. And that kind of motivation transcends time and circumstance. Whether you're leading a team at work or a family or a community group, leaving a legacy of service. That's pretty inspiring.
It is.
Okay, so we've tackled elders and leadership, but Peter doesn't stop there. He goes on to this concept of humility, and it's not just about being polite. It's about, look at verses 5 through 7. There's this call for everyone, and I mean everyone.
Everybody.
To be subject to one another. It completely flips the power dynamic. It's not about hierarchy. It's not about who's in charge. It's about recognizing the value of every person, no matter their age or position.
Yeah, it's almost like he's saying everyone has something to offer.
That's right.
And everyone deserves to be treated with respect.
Absolutely.
Which is a tough concept to swallow.
It is.
In a world
especially today
that prioritizes individual achievement and status.
Exactly.
And to drive this point home, he uses this great imagery of clothing yourself with humility.
It's like putting on a garment.
It is.
Making humility a visible part of who you are.
That's such a powerful image.
It is.
It makes me think, what does that actually look like on a daily basis?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
Humility is about putting other people's needs before your own, valuing their perspectives, being willing to admit when you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's about listening more than you speak.
Yeah.
Serving others without needing to be recognized.
Yeah.
And realizing that you don't have all the answers.
Right.
It's a quiet strength that draws people in.
That ties directly into what he says next.
Yeah.
About God resisting the proud.
But giving grace to the humble.
But giving grace to the humble.
Yeah.
It's almost like humility opens the door to God's blessings and favor.
Yeah.
Pride, on the other hand, builds walls.
It does.
That isolate you and keep you from experiencing the fullness of God's grace.
Pride makes us think that we don't need anyone, not even God.
Right.
But humility recognizes our need for God and for other people.
It's radical.
It is.
This concept of humility.
It's so countercultural.
It goes against everything that our culture values.
That's right.
And celebrates.
Yeah.
But Peter presents it as essential.
Absolutely.
For living a truly fulfilling life.
And that's why this passage is still so powerful today. Centuries later, it's a call to really examine our hearts and our motivations and ask, am I living a life characterized by humility?
Right. And then almost as a balm to our souls.
Yeah.
After wrestling with that concept.
Right.
He offers this comforting verse.
Yeah.
Casting all your care upon him.
For he careth for you.
For he careth for you. Such a beautiful verse.
It is.
In a world that feels so anxious and uncertain.
Right.
That message resonates so deeply.
It does.
It's like a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying, I don't have to carry all the burdens of the world on my own shoulders.
You got it.
I can give them to God who loves me.
Right.
And promises to care for me.
He does.
It's a reminder that we're not alone.
Right.
Even when it feels like we are.
That's a great place to pause.
It is.
For now, we'll pick up right where we left off in part 2.
That sounds good.
All right. Welcome back to our deep dive into 1 Peter 5.
Yeah, before we move on, I want to go back to that verse we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Casting all your care upon him.
Right.
For he careth for you.
It's not just passive surrender.
Right.
It's an active decision to trust that God is in control.
Yeah.
Even when things are difficult.
Yeah. It's like we have to practice it.
It is.
Right?
It's a practice.
The more we do it, the easier it gets.
Right.
But I have to admit,
it
can be really hard, especially when we're facing those challenges and anxieties.
And speaking of challenges, Peter doesn't let us get too comfortable.
Right.
He jumps right into the reality of spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
In verses 8 and 9, he paints this really vivid picture of the devil as a roaring lion looking for someone to devour.
Yeah, that's not some abstract idea of evil. That's a real threat.
That's right.
That we need to be aware of.
We do.
So how do we fight back? What does he tell us to do?
Well, he gives us 2 commands.
Okay.
Be sober. Be vigilant.
Okay, so wake up.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Be alert.
Yeah.
Recognize the enemy is real.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up.
It is.
In everyday life.
In the day-to-day.
And just lose sight of the bigger picture.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's why Peter's warning is so important.
Yeah.
We can't afford to be naive
right.
about the spiritual forces at work in our lives.
But it's not just about being aware of the enemy, is it?
No, it's about resisting him.
Right.
He tells us to resist steadfast in the faith.
Okay, so that's a really key point.
It is.
It's not enough to just acknowledge that he's there.
You have to actively resist.
Yeah, how do we do that?
By standing firm in your faith. Holding on to the truth of God's word.
I have to admit, some days that feels really hard.
It is.
We're only human.
Right.
And the enemy just seems so powerful.
But here's the encouraging part.
Okay.
Peter reminds us that we're not alone in this.
Yeah.
He says the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
When we're going through something hard.
Right.
It's so easy to feel like...
To feel alone.
We're the only ones.
Yeah.
But we're not.
You're not.
Yeah, he's saying your brothers and sisters are going through the same things.
They are.
That's a message of solidarity.
It is. But Peter doesn't stop at solidarity.
Yeah.
He points to the purpose of suffering.
Right.
God can use our most difficult experiences to make us stronger.
It's so hard to make sense of that, though.
It is.
It feels so unfair. So overwhelming.
Yeah. But Peter offers us a different perspective. God will make you perfect, establish you, strengthen you, settle you.
It's like he's saying suffering isn't the end of the story.
It's not.
It's a process that can refine us and shape us.
For something greater?
Yeah, like being forged in fire.
Yeah.
It's painful and intense, but it produces something beautiful and strong.
That's where steadfastness comes back in.
Okay.
When we resist the enemy and stand firm, even when we're suffering, we allow God to work in us, through us.
Yeah.
We become more resilient.
Right.
More rooted in our faith.
Okay, so it's not about looking for suffering.
Right.
But when it comes,
it happens.
Recognizing that it can be used for good.
That's right.
It can deepen our faith.
Yeah.
Strengthen our character. And bring us closer to God.
You got it.
There's another verse I love in this passage. But the God of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory.
Right.
By Christ Jesus. After that you have suffered a while. Make you perfect. Establish you. Strengthen you. Settle you.
It's like a promise.
It is.
Even when we're going through tough times, God's grace is enough. And he'll bring us to a place of strength. Wholeness.
It's like there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Even when we're struggling, God has a plan.
He does.
He's with us every step of the way.
That's a great transition.
It is.
To the final part of this chapter.
Okay.
Peter wraps up with greetings and this reminder about the importance of community.
Yeah. Before we get there, though, I want to highlight something you said.
Okay.
About suffering. It's a process.
It is.
It's not a one-time event.
Right.
It's a journey, which is important to remember because it's easy to get discouraged.
Absolutely.
When we're in the middle of it.
When you're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Peter's message is about perseverance, continuing to resist, even when it's hard.
And we don't have to go through it alone.
You don't.
We have God's grace.
Yes.
We have each other. And we have that promise.
We do.
That he will make us perfect.
Right.
Establish us. Strengthen us.
Yeah.
Settle us.
That's right.
Okay. Let's move on to those last few verses.
To the last section.
The 1 Peter 5.
Okay.
Where he emphasizes community and how we can support each other.
Okay, let's go.
So we're in the home stretch now of our deep dive into 1 Peter chapter 5.
We are.
And it's really interesting to me
how
he shifts gears. In these last few verses,
he does.
He goes from talking about spiritual warfare and suffering to sending greetings and blessings.
Yeah. It's a really cool transition.
It is.
It is.
It's like he's reminding us that we're part of this bigger thing.
Yes.
A community of believers.
Absolutely.
That are connected by something much deeper than just geography.
It's a really beautiful transition.
It is.
He's grounding all of these concepts of leadership and humility and steadfastness in the reality of relationships. These greetings aren't just a formality. It's like a testament to how important it is to have connection and support.
In the Christian community. It's not just about individual faith.
Right.
It's about living it out together and supporting each other through the ups and downs.
That's right.
So the first one that jumps out is this mention of Silvanus.
Yes.
Who we know.
Who we've talked about.
As a faithful brother.
Yes.
He's like vouching for him. He's saying, listen to this guy.
He's the real deal.
He's the real deal.
That's right.
There's a real emphasis
there is
on his character. He's not just a messenger or a scribe.
Right.
He's a trusted colleague.
Right.
Someone who lives out the values that Peter's writing about.
He embodies these teachings.
Yeah, and it makes you think about how much weight we give to the messenger today.
Yeah, especially in the age of social media.
Especially in the age of social media.
Where it's so easy to write someone off just because you don't like them.
Yeah.
But Peter's reminding us to look beyond the person and focus on the message.
Yeah, it's a real challenge.
It is.
But it's so important.
It is.
If we want to really understand the ideas that are being shared.
Absolutely.
So that he goes on to say, from the church.
At Babylon.
That is at Babylon.
Yes.
Why is that so significant?
Well, remember, Babylon wasn't always referring to the literal city.
Right.
It was often used as a code word for Rome.
Okay.
Which was this place of exile and oppression for the early Christians.
So he's saying even in the darkest corners of the world, in places that feel hostile to our faith, the church is thriving.
The gospel is taking root.
Yeah, it's so encouraging.
It is.
To be reminded of that. That faith can flourish in unexpected places.
Right.
That God is working even when things seem hopeless.
That's right.
And he ends with this beautiful image of greeting one another with a kiss of charity.
I know that might sound a little awkward today.
I know.
But back then, it was a common greeting.
Yeah.
A sign of affection and unity.
Yeah, it's like saying, you're part of my family.
Yes.
And I welcome you with open arms.
You're my brother. You're my sister.
And while we might not literally kiss each other today,
right,
the message is timeless.
Absolutely.
It's about love. It's about expressing that bond.
That shared bond.
That we have in Christ.
It makes you think about
it does.
How we treat each other.
Yeah. Do we show that same love? That same kiss of charity?
Are we creating a community where everyone feels welcome and loved and accepted?
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect way
I agree.
To wrap up our deep dives into 1 Peter 5.
It's a letter that really gets to the core of what it means to live out our faith in a really complex and challenging world.
We're called to lead with humility.
Yes.
To submit to one another. To stand firm in our faith and love and support each other.
That's right. We're not alone in this.
Yeah, we're not alone.
We have God's grace. We have each other.
Yeah.
And we have his spirit to guide us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for diving deep with us.
It's been a pleasure.
And listener, we hope you found some gold in these verses. Remember to cast your cares on him.
Right.
Stay vigilant and greet one another.
With a kiss of charity.
With a kiss of charity, we'll see you on the next deep dive.